Good afternoon, wealth creators. My name is Shillyboy Mothiba. Thank you so much for taking this time to listen to my podcast and to listen to my recordings. Today, I want to have a chat with you on the issue of that the powers that SARS has with regard to collecting their own outstanding debts from you. And what I want to highlight is the long powers that they can actually have a chat with your employer, of course, formal chat, and or potentially have a chat with the administrators of your retirement to collect any form of debts that you could be potentially owing them. But, before I even deliberate on those, what they can do and what they cannot do, I want to have a chat with you guys on the importance of tax compliant from the personal benefit rather than to the fact that it's your obligation to pay tax. I think for me, it's more on the aspects of the fact that if I'm not tax compliant, the chances are I won't create wealth. The system will, one way or another, going to block me. Think about this. What are the chances that if you're non-compliant, you'll build multi-million worth property portfolio? Just be honest with that. So that is one reason. If you've got a long-term game and you're really serious about wealth creations, start with making sure that from administrative point of view, you're solid. And administrative expertise has to do with ensuring that the control and management of the activities to ensure that you're going to create wealth starts with you. And that also includes ensuring that your stakeholders that are important in wealth creation, including SARS in this particular, are well catered for and you actually respect them. And I think this is where I come in to say, what are the chances? Just think about it, right? That is one aspect of why you should be complying with SARS. Number two, failure to submit tax returns, you're actually disadvantaging yourself for an opportunity to do an efficient tax planning. The reality is that if you do a proper estate planning throughout the year and a more advanced tax planning throughout the year, you might actually find yourself not even paying the worst tax that you're thinking that you will pay. Or some in other cases, we've seen people even getting refunds, tax refunds. Of course, it's a tax season that started on the 1st of July. Most of you must probably right now have submitted tax returns, and others who are fall under auto assessment also did submit their tax returns. They might have got some little bit of refunds. But how many of you guys before the end of February actually took their time, let's say from last year, 1st of March until end of Feb this year, took their time to actually evaluate what could they be doing to ensure that they pay less tax? Have you actually administratively collected all the medical expenses, supporting documents? Have you maxed your retirement funds? Have you deducted those donations that you've made to public benefit organizations that are approved? Those are some of the things that if you don't do a proper tax planning, you might end up thinking that it's a worst thing, which in the main, it can actually also benefit you, right? So these are some of the things that I think ideally for me to submit tax returns, it's actually in my best interest because of some of those I highlighted issues. Now, of course, by also submitting tax returns, you become a good citizen because you contribute to the social enhancement of the country. We're not going to get into the politics on whether you agree with how the money is used or not. But the truth of the matter is that there's a little bit of money that are collected from tax that goes for a good use. That you can't argue against. So by virtue of you actually also submitting tax returns and paying what is due to SARS, you also, in a way, contributing to be a good citizen, which is good. Now, let's maybe go back and then discuss the issues of the powers that SARS have when it comes to them collecting the money you owe. Let's say for whatever reason you owe them SARS, you owe them money, be it in a company, be it in a trust, be it in your personal name. What could SARS do if you don't pay up? By the way, you know that you can make an arrangement and make sure that you pay your obligations with them as you can afford them and or after the way you would have agreed with them. Now, let's look at what they can do. You don't want a situation where when you're about to retire, the retirement fund administrators or the trustees, they go to SARS. Of course, by law, they are required to do that and get directive to say, Mr. SARS, Mr. Commissioner, is Shillyboy in good standing with you? Or do you want us to deduct some of the money that is due to you that he hasn't paid this money in the last 20 years? Mr. SARS will say, hey, thank you so much, administrators. Shillyboy owes me sort of this much and this much. Can you please collect this money on my behalf? Mind you, we haven't even got to the fact that you still have to pay money on those retirement benefits and things like that. No, I'm just still talking about the outstanding debts. Over and above that, then obviously I have to pay those taxes that comes with, that comes with outstanding, that comes with the retirement benefits for that matter, right? So they can actually do that. They're empowered by the Tax Administration Act. We're not going to dwell into the sections and things like that, but the principles that they've got. Or they can turn around and say, we're not going to wait for Shillyboy to retire. We are just going to go to his employer, right? And say, Shillyboy works for Tax Edu, ZA, and Intergen. We'll go to Intergen and Tax Edu ZA to say, Shillyboy, can he pay us? And that is basically what they'll end up doing. They'll tell the employer, they'll go to the Tax Edu ZA management and say, Shillyboy owe us, and he owe us so much. We expect you, as part of this directive, to deduct so much on a monthly basis, and it must be paid over to us. You don't have a choice. That could happen, right? So those are some of the powers they can do. You probably experienced these where SARS just went and deducted money out of your bank account. Most of you I saw on TikTok, when I mentioned this issue, you actually agreed and said, I lost so much. Hey, my friend, my family members, so much has been deducted from their personal bank account. They can't do that. They can empower the bank to actually deduct and process some of the amounts that you'll be owing them. Of course, they can't willy-nilly do that. They still need to follow the relevant guidelines according to the law, which you can always find them under Tax Administration Act, what they need to do. And the one key thing is that they should have actually even given you final demand letter, right? They should have given you, of course, provide subjected to the fact that if it might compromise or prejudice their attempt to recover money, then they might end up being excused for that. So there's a bit of court cases and common law that could also support them from not even giving you a final demand letter, especially if you are that typical character that has been running away from the unreasonably so. So my advice would be that to enjoy and create wealth, especially as a wealth creator and property investors or business person, my advice would be comply and take advantage of those tax incentive schemes and benefits and provisions, and actually end up using tax your advantage rather than running away and seeing tax as an enemy number one. I don't think so. If you actually getting involved and using the likes of Tax Edu ZA and Intergen, you're more likely going to find yourself actually at the better position rather than making SARS your enemy number one. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking your time to listen to my recording, and look forward to more content that will be coming on a weekly basis. I wish you so much and a happy working days. Good luck. Thank you.